Welcome back. I'm attorney Thomas Burton, and today's question is the following. Should my business use the same address in registration or report with different government departments? Can my business have multiple different addresses? For example, I have an address registered with departments of the state. However, in my contract with my business customers to meet in person, I write a different address. So first of all, you don't state what type of business you have, but since you mentioned registered with the state, I'm going to assume it's a business entity you formed with the state of Wisconsin. For example, like an LLC, a limited liability company, is quickly become the most popular business entity formed in Wisconsin. So let's assume you have an LLC. You're required to have a registered agent and a registered office on file with the Department of Financial Institutions. In many states, it's the Department of State, but in Wisconsin, it's the Department of Financial Institutions. In many states, it's the Secretary of State, but here, the legislature has changed it to the Department of Financial Institutions. So this address of the registered agent and office must be in Wisconsin, must be on file with the Department of Financial Institutions. And if you ever change or update the registered office and registered agent, you must notify the department. And when you file your annual report, they'll ask you about this. So that's the official business registered office you should use with the Department of Financial Institutions and with other government agencies. So if you form this LLC yourself and you're using your home address on there, it should match what you filed with the Articles of Organization, for instance, with your tax returns and things like that. Now, if you are thinking, I don't want my home address out there for business customers, you have two options. You can hire a registered agent and registered office. If you don't have a business office that you rent, there's services out there that allow you to pay them an annual fee to be your registered agent and registered office. Because as a reminder, the registered agent is the person designated to receive service of process if your LLC is ever sued. And it must have a regular office business address and be a person who will receive that paperwork and get it to you. And also for tax returns, filings, things like that. So you could do that. But in general, your question is, can I use a different address to meet with customers? That is allowed. Many businesses have a corporate office and then they have multiple satellite offices. So there's nothing in the law that says you can't have more than one office. Or if you think about a home-based business, like a plumber, for example, may form an LLC, use his home address as the registered office and registered agent address. But in reality, he goes to the customer with his truck all of the time. So no one comes to his home address. I mean, they might occasionally, but his business is not built on them coming to him. So in the same way, if you use a Regis office center or a day office to meet with clients, that's acceptable, and you certainly can do that. You don't have to meet with them at the registered office address. And if you were sending a communication saying where we're going to meet, you could use the address of that suite or office center wherever you're meeting. But in terms of official paperwork with the state, you should use the registered office and registered agent address when they're asking you for that with like the Department of Financial Institutions. And with other government agencies, generally I would look at if they ask you, is it the registered agent and office address, or are they just asking for a mailing address? But to simplify your life, you might like to just make it all the same. And you could do that by either hiring a registered agent. Again, if you're thinking, I don't want to use my home address, then you could hire a registered agent and office address service for that.